PodcastEatWrestling.com. We are live talking with the queen of AEW, in my opinion, one half of the Wrestle Ants, and someone who has done so much and yet gets thrown in the middle of so many things, Renee Paquette. Renee, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Everyone, thank you first off for joining us here in late notice. If it wasn't for RJ City, we probably wouldn't be here. So I appreciate
No,
his.
RJ threw you under the bus. He was like, why didn't you ask Renee to come on? You just dodged me and went straight to RJ and left me high and dry. So here I am picking up the scraps.
That is accurate. I will take full responsibility, and I appreciate RJ calling me out on it, or else we wouldn't be here right now. So we know how busy you are, and we know how unbusy RJ is. So that's
true. That's true.
I
told him he needs to have a kid, and then people don't ask you to do as many things.
I asked him about that off air, and he said, do I look like someone who is prepared to have a child? And I, surprisingly enough, said yes. And he laughed at me. So we'll figure out maybe at some point he is ready for the battle.
Nora, do you like RJ? Yes or no?
It's a very RJ answer.
She said yes. She went yes.
Good. Okay.
Right.
So
well, we'll take it. See, so if Nora has already warmed up to him, then they're good, because sometimes they're a little bit. She's a little on the fence about him. So,
I mean, I think there's a lot of people that are on the fence about RJ, but everyone who's joining us here in the chat, please drop a question. We are talking about All In. We're talking about Starcast. Super chats to the front of the line. We will get to you immediately. Before we get into everything that's going on in AEW, how excited are you for Starcast?
I'm excited for everything. I'm not excited to pack my bag later because I fly tomorrow.
That's fair.
But I just like the whole event, everything leading up to All In, everything to do with Starrcast, to be able to pop out, RJ and I getting to do a little variety hour together. I'm there to moderate with Paul White as well. Yes. So, and I've seen so many different names announced for who all is going to be there. It's always fun to be a part of those too, because it's like a little bit of like a social hang. You see some people maybe you haven't seen in a little while. Yes. And then, of course, meeting all the fans. I mean, that's such a big part for us too with AEW. I mean, we see our fans and we know how passionate they are. So now to be able to have that like one-on-one time with people, I think is really, really important.
Your first Starcast was the one in Nashville. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
So you got to sit down with Bryan Danielson. We did a panel then, and then now you're doing double duty, hosting RJ as part of the Wrestle Ants and also Paul White, as you mentioned. You've had a lot of experience doing interviews and especially on TV. What is the best part about doing it in front of a live audience in the Starcast format?
It always just has like a different feel. Like I no matter what, when I prepare to do an interview, I am a big preparer. I'm an over preparer, but I also love to completely abandon all of the work that I put in and just kind of follow where it goes. You know, it depends on how the person I'm interviewing is feeling. The crowd energy obviously changes all of that. It's fun to get that immediate reaction to. I mean, we relive so many different stories. There are some that maybe you might not hear otherwise.
Ever.
Yeah, exactly. So like, that's always like a fun element too. It's one thing when you know that we're up and we're recording and it's going out somewhere, blah, 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 but it's nice to be there in that like more intimate kind of setting and get to really delve deep. So doing that with Paul White, I'm very excited because I know that guy likes to really. Oh shoot! Sorry, that's what happens when you have a dog tethered to you. But yeah, I know he's always got so many crazy stories. I've got crazy stories with Paul, so I'm really excited to get into those with him. And RJ's just a loose cannon. You never know what's going to happen, so we're going to take that bitch off the rails too.
Yes, we are. RJ asked one of the questions yesterday: "Are we recording this and will it ever air?" And I said, "I don't believe so. I know I'm sure there's going to be a camera or two floating around." He goes, "I don't want any cameras," and I was like, okay, so if you're there and it looks like Sean Colbert's going to be there, Sean said, cannot wait for this weekend going to karaoke, Starcast.
Yes. You know what? I might pop by that karaoke too. I was extended an invitation a couple weeks ago. So if that is in the cards and I'm able to pull that one off, I will also be at that karaoke.
What's the go-to karaoke song for Renee?
think long and hard about this, like way more than I should. Like, do you do a real song or do you
Right.
do a song that you want to? I think you need to get the crowd involved, right?
You got to do comedy, haha. You're going to do serious. That's the question,
I
right?
know. Like, well, it also is like, I don't know. Well, I think I would have to have a glass of wine in order
Of
to get
course.
up there. I need a little sort of social lubrication. Maybe like a Green Day song. Maybe
Which one?
like No Doubt. No Doubt, I
There
think,
you
is a
go.
good in between. People
Yeah.
know all the words, but you don't have to like really give it hell.
Ready for this
Do
one?
you have a go-to karaoke?
No, I let my wife do it. It's very easy for me to stay out of that way. Who's the best singer in AEW, you think?
I mean, that's such a no-brainer. It's Harley Cameron,
Yes.
obviously. The
Yes.
girl can just belt out tunes so effortlessly. Yeah, she is a true force of nature, that woman. What can't she
Efren,
do?
everything,
Yeah,
including puppets, which is
everything. The puppets,
mind-blowing.
ventriloquy, singing, obviously, wrestling.
Yes.
She really is amazing. She puts in so much work into her craft, and she's excellent.
Yes. Efren is going to be there as well, and he's saying you need to bring the box of wine.
I'll bring a box of wine. I also just got a box of iced coffee that I put in my fridge, and it's this banana bread iced coffee. Let
Wow.
me tell you, it has changed the game. So I'll have the upper and the downer, whatever you need.
Where do you get I'm going to need to know that because
I
then
got
I'm
it.
going to
Hold on. Let me look up what the name of it is.
then in the meantime I'm going to plug Claudio's Cafe, which I'm currently
Yes.
drinking as we
You know what?
speak.
I should talk to him about that because he should add that into his repertoire.
We are working on more flavors every month. We are in conversation. So we are trying to get as many, and please support Claudio's Cafe.cc. I heard
Please.
he's going to be bringing some for the brunch.
Good. See, that's what we need. This one's called Wandering Bear Coffee.
Wandering Bear.
And
Okay.
it was one of those things that popped up as like an ad on my Instagram, and I was like, I love a good banana coffee. You would never think to put those things together, but they're
No.
really great. So I'm gonna have a little tete-a-tete with Claudio and tell him he's got to get on it. If he can't get on it, Prince Nana's got to get on it. Someone needs to bring this coffee to the table.
I made it awkward yesterday. I forgot that RJ has a coffee. And I told him, Claudio's going to bring his coffee. And then he's like, I have a coffee line. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about
Bring
that.
Claudio's. I want Claudio's coffee because I know, well, RJ is neurotic as well. I'm not saying Claudio's neurotic. Claudio is like meticulous.
Neurotic about coffee.
Right?
Yes.
But RJ is neurotic in that I don't think he would just put out something bad.
No.
So
Although
I don't know.
He seemed to have a little heat with Dustin Rhodes coming out with a coffee line.
He has heat with everybody. He had heat with me the second that I started at AEW. He likes to pick a fight, this guy.
He's got a fiery personality, and
Yeah.
I think that's what makes you two. And I have to tell you, the addition of Jeff Jarrett to 0 Hour has been so fun to watch Jeff have to bounce off of RJ, and then you're just in the middle trying to keep the train moving. How much fun is it working with Double J?
I love working with Jeff. I love working with him in this capacity. Like, I love having those moments of like doing promos with him and having him and Karen and Sanjay and Satnam and Jay Lethal, like having his whole crew around him. I like having him in that capacity, but watching the way that he can switch gears and wear that different hat and go into more analysis mode. He does a ton of work too. I mean,
Yes.
I'm sure you guys know that with what you do with him on his podcast, but seeing the work that he does literally between segments. He'll be looking back over his computer. He's got his iPad or whatever it is he's carrying around. And he's got all of his notes in it, all of the information he wants to make sure that he gets in there. And I always love that. Like I said, like I like to prepare.
Yep.
I like to prepare to the point that you can be comfortable enough to wing it.
Yes.
And I like that he is able to do that same thing. And, Jeff and I go back to being in that similar situation from when he came in and auditioned for WWE backstage when I was doing it. And he came in, and that was the first time I got to see Jeff in that situation. I was like, oh, he's really good at this. So now being able to actually do that with him in AEW is awesome.
And then you got RJ.
And then I deal with RJ. Yeah, I know.
Is it diva-like? It's okay if it is, right? But is he a diva?
God, I don't know if like diva is the right word. He is more like he's more like an old man. And I don't know if that's like from like the loafers up that it goes that way. And I love a loafer, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But it's like the loafer, the pleated pant, maybe like, I don't know, some kind of button down shirt. There's an air about him.
Classic old soul, maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. We got a question. We got a question from Christine. I have a gift for you, Renee. I hope to give it to you in person at the brunch instead of making RJ do it like I usually do. But question: what song would you force RJ to sing for karaoke just to torture him?
Ooh, well, first of all, thank you so much. I will be there at the brunch. Cannot wait to see you. Thank you for coming out, and we'll get some of that Claudio's Cafe coffee in us and have us a time. God, what would I get RJ to sing that would torture him? Probably something really new. Because I don't even know what he listens to. Like when he puts on headphones, does he have playlists? Does he have other artists other than like movie scores that he listens to?
I was gonna say, I feel like it's movie scores and podcasts, and like I'm
Yeah.
thinking like true crime dramas in his ears, like that
I
type
don't
of
think
thing.
so. Like I don't take him as like a true crime
Yeah.
guy. I've actually wondered that before, because when I look at like the songs that he will use in like our collaborated posts on Instagram, I'm like, was this off the top of your head, or like where did this come from? So I would probably go something really new to torture him, or like some kind of like boy band thing, like something that is definitely not in his wheelhouse, which I feel like is most like pop music.
I know my stepdaughters right now have said that if they hear Pink Pony Club again, they're going to lose their minds. So maybe that would fit in that frame.
Club gals over here. Me and Nora love some Chappell Roan. But yeah, maybe like some Chappell Roan, maybe like a little Sabrina Carpenter, something to really let that freak flag fly.
Speaking, Christina, as a follow-up, he has a playlist on Spotify, and it's very quirky. So
I am not surprised. I will have to check it out to see what's on there. But yeah, I can't imagine. I don't know. I've just not really fully been able to get through exactly how his brain operates, and music is a whole other layer of it.
It's been 2 years now?
Yeah, 3.
3 years.
Yeah. And we went on vacation together. I went to Italy with this man. I don't know what all he listens to, but I've seen RJ on vacation, and let me tell you, it's a good time.
All right, I got to ask, banana hammock, Speedo, boxer?
You know what? No, none of it. He never got in the water. I never saw him get in the water. What person flies all the way to Italy? We had a rooftop pool at our hotel. We rented a boat and went in the ocean, and he was not even dressed to get in the water. I was ashamed of him.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Me either. But that tells you what we're dealing with here. The man's a lunatic.
That is, and Nora agrees, it sounds like.
Yeah. Nora,
when you're thinking about a brunch like this, and we've discussed some of the plans and some of the surprise guests and special moments that is on the agenda, to you, what makes it special for you? Is it being there with RJ, or the actual variety aspect of the show?
I think it's both of those things. I mean, doing a variety show is something that like I've always been drawn to that world. I mean, when I first got into broadcasting, I had these plans of all these different types of shows and different kinds of things that I really wanted to do. So it's fun to get to do that kind of format in a live show environment. There's something very fun about that. And then, yeah, I mean, working with RJ, him and we work together obviously all the time in front of the camera, behind the scenes, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, this will be fun to be like, okay, well, now there's not a camera in front of our faces, and the stakes are a little lower of what we can really throw out there. So that always makes it a little bit more fun to see what all is going to happen, what all is going to shake out. I don't know.
Are you more looking forward to the variety show or sitting down with Paul White?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, the variety hour requires a little less, in the sense that like it's loosey goosey and we can just like go out there and we're going to wing it. We're going to bounce off of each other. And me and Paul will also do the same, but that's a different aspect of going in and putting in that work and getting in the mindset of like chronologically his career. What are the things that we're going to hit? What are the conversations that we're going to have? So they're very different. And I really love getting to do both of those. One's just sort of like fun, goofy, mess around, talk some wrestling. And like, that's a part of wrestling that I love. I always love the goofy, fun aspect of wrestling. But then there's the other side of it that I really respect. And I really love that side too. So I get to kind of bounce between both of them. So I don't know that I can pick.
Best of both worlds, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Kind of a lame answer, but
that's okay.
Yeah. They're both fun in different ways.
And at least, you're going to be up early in the morning doing the brunch, and then you'll have plenty of time before we get to Tall Tales. But first, Richard's got a question. What is this brunch being talked about? It is the brunch with the Wrestle Aunts, and you have to get a bracelet, starcast.com. Make sure you go get your bracelet. You do not want to miss what is going to be the variety hour of all variety hours if everything comes through. And then we also have this. Oh, let me click that one. I know you will get to it later, but how do I attend Tall Tales? Same thing. Starcast.com, get your bracelet. You will be able to attend all the panels. You'll get taking advantage of the meet and greets. Are you doing a meet and greet as well?
I am not doing a meet and greet, I don't believe. I think it was just a variety hour and then Tall Tales. But I will be there should anyone want to come up and say hey.
And I believe there are going to be bagels at the brunch.
Yes.
So
I mean, you can't do a brunch without providing some of the goods. Just because it's in the brunch hours, that's one thing. But there will be coffee. There will be bagels. It'll be fun. I might have a Caesar or a Bloody Mary. We'll see.
Well, it is on Texas time, so it will be essentially central. So kind of almost noonish, depending upon when it. Yeah, but listen, there's never a bad time for a Bloody Mary. Let's be honest. One of the things you said and RJ brought up yesterday was the freedom to do things that in this company that you may not be able to do elsewhere. And this is one of those things. How much freedom do you have and enjoy having in AEW?
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. I love that there's that freedom there. I love the collaboration aspect of things. I mean, whether it's, having a conversation with someone, hey, we're going to get in and we're going to do this interview. Is there something that you want to do? Or how's a better way that I can help to tell this story or facilitate it in some capacity? And also just like seeing the way that different talent flourish under that or adjust. There's definitely an adjustment period of like, whoa, I'm used to this certain more rigid style to now being like, okay, now who am I with these rules thrown out the window? So there definitely is like that adjustment period, but yeah, having that freedom is amazing. I mean, you look at what Tony and all of the people top to bottom in AEW have been able to create, and the company's still so young. But you can feel that something really special is happening right now. I feel like everything is firing on all cylinders. We also go into pay-per-views. We know that pay-per-views is where we thrive. It's such a great sweet spot for us. But yeah, it feels to me like there's like some kind of little magic in the air heading into Texas and getting ready for All In. But yeah, I mean, going back to the point of just like the freedom to what people have been able to build and what some of these different matches and different stories are looking like. It feels very interesting. It makes me have to prep a little bit differently when I go in to do something like 0 Hour, and we're going to be talking about all these matches and what the different stipulations might be and all that. There's so many more prongs to go off of, and I find that really cool.
RJ brought up that the company is 6 years old.
Yeah.
When you think about it in the time frame, 6 years old is first grader.
Nothing.
And there's not this long 45, 50-year history. Even, it hasn't even reached a decade yet.
Yep.
So it's young and there's still room to grow. There's still a lot going on. When you think about where the company's at, even 3 years ago from when you joined the company, it has grown leaps and bounds between Wembley and now here we are in the United States, the first stadium show. How excited are you for Globe Life Field?
Oh my God, I'm so excited. First of all, let me just say I'm extra excited when I realized that the roof is going to be closed and the air conditioning is going to be on. Because I was getting a little bit stressed and I'm like, hey, Nora, remember when we promised? She's going.
If only the talent was that easy.
Oh my God, tell me about it. But yeah, knowing that it's not going to be so terribly hot in there, that gives me a little bit of like, okay, now we can get in there and have fun. But yeah, I mean, obviously the Wembley shows were so special, and to be a part of those shows, and we know how awesome UK wrestling fans can be, and for us to bring AEW there and be able to put on that spectacle was amazing. But now to be in the US again with All In, and to be at Globe Life Field, it just feels big, and it feels important, and it feels like it really is this big step for AEW. I mean, as you were just rattling off, in the 6 years of what the company's been around, and these leaps and bounds that we continue to keep making, this still really feels like that. It feels like a big win, kind of regardless of like how everything goes. And if people don't like this or this or this, it's like it is a big moment that cannot be taken away.
No. When you talk about one of the luxuries of this show being in the afternoon, you're gonna have the sunlight, you're gonna have the setting, and then it's over, and then you have the night ahead of you.
Yeah.
The ability to go relax afterwards and possibly go to karaoke or Family Feud or anything like that. The experience, though, is going to be tremendous,
Oh yeah.
not just for the fans, but for the town as well.
Yeah.
How much fun is it to be in that environment for the next 4 or 5 days?
Really fun. It's really, really fun. We're going out with like our family. Obviously, Nora's coming with us, and this dog is coming with us too, believe it or not. So we will be at an Airbnb. Nora, can you not knock on that door, please, honey? We're going to be at an Airbnb, which is going to be great. But, we know all the other people, where everyone's staying, who's going to get together, who's going to get to hang out. It is always fun. And you know what, honestly, because we move so fast, we do the shows Wednesdays, sometimes they're double tapings, people go home and they go back out for Saturdays to do Collision, or they're doing Ring of Honor, what have you. There's not that much time to really just hang out. So I think making that time for me really is important. I think it's cool to be able to spend a bit more time with each other, away from the stresses of doing live TV, and especially afterwards, after having done a gigantic pay-per-view like All In's going to be, to be able to let off a little bit of steam, live in that for a little bit, and then get ready to move on for that next Wednesday heading into Chicago.
What are you looking forward to most at All In? Is it a match? Is it a story? What is? Oh, hi, Nora.
Say hey. Hey. Well, I would say that we're looking forward to Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page.
Yes.
Obviously, there's a little asterisk next to that. Now that that's who Daddy's gonna wrestle at All In. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't like him.
I'm gonna win.
I hope so. You think Daddy's gonna win? Yeah, me too.
Yes. That's a good answer.
That is a good answer. Yeah, I mean, going into that though, and seeing them do a Texas, baby, you got to give me a minute, okay? You can't come on here and sing a song unless you want to sing a song. Yeah, having this be a Texas death match, though, I mean, that obviously changes things. We saw what happened the last time these guys had a match with that same stipulation. So that always makes me a little bit more nervous, a little more apprehensive to just be watching. Nora, babe, you gotta quit yelling, or can you go sit in the other room? I'll give you $5. She's like, I don't know what that does.
Yeah. That doesn't work until they're like 10 when they actually
have not work. I will give you ice cream when I'm done this, okay? But you gotta be quiet.
Ice cream.
We'll see how this goes. Okay, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to Okada and Omega for the first time in the US. Winner take all, the new unified championship. That's going to be incredible to see these guys now at this point in time in their careers. I mean, I know, we've seen the headlines of Kenny doing some media talking about how important these matches are, that he knows that he has left under his belt. And I think, getting to see the lore of Okada in that big stadium setting again is going to be really, really cool. And then the girls, I cannot wait to see what's going to happen with Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm. These girls have just been on fire. I think that people are really coming around and jumping on the bandwagon of Mercedes Moné, being like, she's pretty good. You know, she's had these incredible matches. We saw what her and Mina just did on Dynamite last week, which was like a pay-per-view worthy match. It was so good. So to see what her and Toni are going to do, Toni Storm has been carrying the entire division on her back for some time. I mean, she really is such a cornerstone of, you know, the DNA of what AEW is. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what those girls do.
When you think about the evolution of Timeless Toni Storm for where she was when she entered the company into today, the massiveness of her is just astounding. And it wouldn't have happened anywhere else but AEW.
No, you're right. And like to take that chance and to like really lean in to what Timeless Toni Storm is and the way that she has fully leaned into what Timeless Toni Storm is, even when she took the step back and she was rookie Toni Storm coming back, you know, when she was in that in the program with Mariah. But yeah, I mean, looking at what she's been able to do, and you know, it really is that kind of a situation of like preparedness and opportunity come together. I mean, Toni is so damn good at what she does to be able to execute this stuff week in, week out. And not only have comedic timing and poise and jump on headset and rattle off some of these one-liners, but she's one of the best in-ring competitors that we have. She is a hell of an athlete. So for her to be able to be that full 360 athlete and pro wrestler, it's really cool to watch her. I can remember the first time I ever saw Toni Storm and learned about Toni Storm when I was on the call for the Mae Young Classic. And that was the first time I saw her. And you knew that there was something special about her from that second. So to see where she has catapulted things, and you're right, it would not have happened in any other place than what we have at AEW.
When you think about the top 3 matches you just referenced, you left out the Young Bucks taking on Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland. You left out the men's gauntlet, the women's gauntlet, the level of talent that is still on the card. We didn't even talk about Kyle Fletcher and Adam Cole.
I know.
There's enough underneath.
She's stacked in the front and the back, baby.
The whole way through. And the amount of talent that is in the men's and women's gauntlet that we haven't even heard about. You talk about a legendary pay-per-view. It's going to be hard to say that this has a chance to be the best in the history of the company.
And, you know, it really feels like, you know, I'm sure in looking down the line at like, man, All In's coming up. How can we make this the best show? Going back to the point that I said earlier, it's like once All In, once that bell rings, first bell rings to the last bell ringing, that's it. Like that moment cannot be taken away. So the more star power we have, I mean, we know it really is not just like hyperbole to say like it's where the best wrestle. It truly is the best competitors that put on the best matches, that don't want to leave anything else out there. They really give it their all. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's so many different matches. I just rattled off, those top 3 that came to mind, but you could take a deep dive on any one of those matches and talk about the talent that's in there. We didn't even talk about the tag titles either. There's just so many different things that you can get into there and so many different stories to look at and different matches to look at. And also thinking of what AEW is going to look like on the other side of All In. What does it look like for that next Dynamite? Is there going to be new champions? You know, who knows what that's going to look like? Are new people going to be there? Who knows?
We didn't even discuss the Death Riders trios match. It sounds like the challenge has been made. No one knows who the third partner is going to be, possibly taking on the Ops. But again, Samoa Joe, former AEW World Champion. Here we are a week away, and, you know, he's on the card. It's insane. The lack, the top to bottom, fully stacked roster that AEW has. When you think about the online discourse about some of the things I'm sure you see online, what's the biggest thing that jumps out at you that isn't true about AEW?
Oh, gosh. Biggest thing that isn't true about AEW. I think the one that comes to mind is how much everyone thinks so many people have creative control over things.
What a great phrase that is.
It's just nonstop. It's crazy thinking that all of these people have it written into their contracts, all these different different creative control situations. I don't know what's in everyone's contracts, but that seems a little outlandish to me.
If everyone had creative control, there would be no
Yeah,
control. So it's,
exactly. Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
My favorite part of watching AEW is that I get to see guys I grew up with on the indies now doing what they love. And there's a lot of people that do, Claudio, I think about especially Wheeler Yuta getting a platform, Daniel Garcia, Adam Cole. When you think about those guys and you think about the stacked roster that is going to be in Dallas, we didn't even talk about MJF.
Yeah.
You have guys that can do talk, who can work, who can do everything. When you look at a format sheet and you're handed, here's who you're going to be talking to today, who's the one you're most excited to have a microphone with?
Ooh, I mean, honestly, a lot of the times Tony Storm, because sometimes the things that come out of her mouth, I'm like, wait, what? What? So I do love working with Tony Storm. I love getting to work with Harley Cameron as well. I mean, kind of for that same feeling of like, who knows what's going to happen. It's entertaining and it's fun. I love that. But on the more like serious side of things, of those guys and girls that just have that other air about them, and you feel something really special. I mean, aside from what's happening this Saturday at All In, Hangman is really great. He's such an immense talent, and I think he's another guy that has just, we've seen the growth in him. We've seen him, step up to be this guy. The spotlight is on him right now. But he's someone that, I regardless of what happens in the ring, I admire the work that he does.
Do you find it hard to be objective with John and getting involved in the interview process sometimes?
Yes and no. We've been down this road so many times before, not to this length, obviously, with where he's at and the things that he's been doing in AEW. But, I kind of pick and choose my moments. It depends on who I'm talking to, like a lot of times I can push stuff aside and do a little bit more of like the journalistic integrity and, ask the questions, have some follow-ups, just sort of be there as a person to ask the questions. But yeah, it is a little bit hard sometimes. I mean, if someone is talking trash about my husband in my face or disparaging him in some way, it's hard to bite your tongue on that a little bit. But I kind of pick and choose those moments. Like I said, like we've been down this road before, and as much as it could be hard for me to bite my tongue, he's not someone that needs me to be like, hey, don't talk about my husband, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's good. He's fine.
I've shared locker rooms with John 20 years ago at CZW in Chikara, and the same intense individual back then is still the same intense individual today. But I have to bring up my good friend and your good friend, another intense individual, Eddie Kingston. When Eddie Kingston makes his way back, I feel like there's going to be a collision course. And my favorite AEW moment of yours was when you gave Eddie the business way back when, a couple of years ago, might actually be almost 1 year ago, soon to this.
Yeah.
That was my favorite AEW moment for you. What is your favorite moment so far in AEW?
That's probably up there because I don't usually get emotional in interviews and in situations like that. Actually wasn't even an interview. That was just John and Eddie were talking. I happened to be there and got in the middle of them, and yes, had to give Eddie a little bit of the business. I actually someone had tagged me in that recently, and I saw that back not too long ago. And that was a really cool moment. And like also, to the point of what you just said, like, you look at John, we all know John, we know what John brings to the table. We know that, like, it's not even just like a mystique of John, but there's like a stoicism or something with him. And then there's Eddie, it's funny because I feel like Eddie and I are like, sometimes we're like, we can be a little bit more similar. John's a little bit more calm, and me and Eddie can get a little bit fired up. So him and I can go back and forth. That's why it was kind of fun to get in his face and let him know he had pushed John too far and he needed to rectify things. So yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite moments. Gosh, what else? I mean, I love getting to do the 0 hour stuff. I love getting to hang out there with RJ and with Jeff Jarrett. Like, I love getting to do promos with people for Dynamite, Collision, pay-per-views, what have you, but actually getting to host shows.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do. I feel like I can sink my teeth into that in a different way. And yes, baby. You can come sit with me, but I gotta talk. You gotta be quiet, okay? Promise? All right. No pinky promise. Okay.
Sorry, Nora, we don't have a graphic ready for you, but we know this face. I got a question from AOTV Productions. I'm going to put up on the screen, Renee. Hey, Renee, what do you think of the Stalker stories involving Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, and Dominic Mysterio? Liv Stalker showed up with a BB gun telling authorities he just wanted to say hi. Is it tough to be in the public limelight with everything that's going on currently?
It's really scary. I mean, stuff like that is obviously awful. We saw what happened with Sonia Deville a couple of years ago. You see certain times that repeat fans want to send flowers backstage. And like, listen, that can all be very nice, of course. But sometimes when that line is when that line gets pushed a little bit too much, it can be really scary. And like, again, like this day and age is like, God, we never know what anyone's intentions are or what they're doing, or if they view the world differently than you might view the world, and like how that might go. And when you're out there as a public figure and in these, public venue settings, it can be a little bit scary just to make sure that you're protected. And we've seen moments of fans being able to jump in the ring, and it hasn't happened a lot. But we've seen it a few times, and like, anything like that is really scary. So I try to keep my distance from that and keep my head down and kind of pretend that stuff doesn't exist. But you got to keep your head on a swivel.
Absolutely. At Starcast.com, get your meet and greet bracelets. Make sure that you do not miss out. You have Wrestle On's brunch. You have Tall Tales with Paul White. Nora's not going to be there, I'm going to assume, for the brunch.
Probably not.
Probably not. That's probably a good idea. Get your bracelets, starcast.com. Renee, is there anything else besides All In we need to discuss, you think, today?
I mean, we could really get into all of it. We have, as we just said, there's all these matches that we could talk about and all these moments that we could talk about. But, more than anything, to me, this is a big celebration for AEW, but I think this is a huge celebration for pro wrestling fans to have a show of this caliber. We're going to be in Arlington, Texas, to be at a baseball stadium, Globe Life Field, with all of these awesome stars, and we're all out there celebrating the same thing and having fun and enjoying some wrestling. I kind of want that to be the takeaway, is to have fun. You gonna watch some wrestling? No. She just got into watching wrestling. Actually, she likes to watch the girls wrestle.
I don't blame her. You have
only the girls.
Only the girls. You got some of the best talent in AEW. You have a stat card for AEW All In. Renee, I want to thank you for the time tonight. I hope you had as much fun as I did here on podcastheatwrestling.com. Remember, starcast.com, get your bracelets. You do not want to miss any of the stage shows, including WrestleAnts, and you do not want to miss the Coffee and Bagels, obviously, because if RJ's doing it, we're going to do it real good. AEW All In, available on pay-per-view. Make sure you follow the social channels. Get it everywhere. Prime. Oh my God, there's more through your TV. You can do it all through.
There's
AEW,
all of the options. You will
them.
Find a way.
Trust me, that graphic went up on the screen last time for you guys at 0 hour, and it was like there's 17 different ways.
I only rattle off a few of them. And I'm like, wait, there's all these other options too.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
It's crazy. Make sure you join us in Dallas if you can at Starcast, starcast.com, and make sure you subscribe here on Podcast Heat Wrestling. You never know when we're going to go live again. Renee, thank you. And Nora, thank you so much for the time tonight. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next time here on podcastheatwrestling.com. Bye.
Thank you guys for having me. I apologize that we got bombarded in the dog.
Okay, she's the star of the show as always, I'm sure. Thank you.
Thanks. Oh.